Over the last decade of being a doctor, I've done many night shifts across many different hospitals in different areas and in many different specialties. So what are my top tips for night shifts? I'm going to go through it. Essentials to think about are sleep routine, rest, exercise, eating habits. If you can work out what you're going to do for each of those areas, then I think it's really good to prepare and recover from night shifts. What I find works best for me is if I go home post night shifts, relax in the day, do sports, eat healthy, keep well hydrated, and then go to bed a few hours earlier than I would normally. I prefer not to have a nap in the day, as I find it affects my ability to sleep at night. So you need to think about your routine and what's best for you. I think what works best for me is to have a very good pre-night shift routine and a very good post-night shift routine. My pre-night essentials are to make sure I go to sleep late the night before, so then I wake up a bit later. I make sure I close my blinds and there's not much light coming through. I do some sports in the day, something like yoga or a walk, so I make sure I see some nature and I do some movement. I try my best to keep as well hydrated as possible, so I drink lots of water. I make sure I'm not too active during the day, so I don't do too much activity to make sure I still have energy for the night. So I might just have a quite restful, peaceful day. One last tip is I try to warn my friends and family that I'm going into nights, so they know I'm not going to be as easily available by text or by call, and my routine might be a little bit out of whack. And I also want to tell them I might be a little bit more cranky than usual, and I think setting that expectation from the outset might mean that they're a little bit more understanding, I guess is probably the right word. Yeah. If I'm a little bit more snappy. My post-night shift routine is I try to have something I look forward to, so a dinner with friends or an activity. I try to do a bit of self-care, so I might have a bath, I might go for a facial, but I really try to take care of myself. I drink lots of water and make sure I'm well hydrated. I eat healthy meals. I try to make sure I eat as healthy as possible on night shifts to make sure I'm not getting extra lethargic, and I find that night shifts really affect my eating habits. So what works best for me is to still be mindful and have a healthy diet while I'm on night shifts. Post night shifts I also do some sport, and that really helps me. I have to be honest, with routines it's difficult to say exactly what works best for everyone because I think it's a personal process. My mum, my dad and my sister all do night shifts, so 4 of us in our family all do night shifts, and what works best for each of us is a little bit different. My parents do nap in the day, I think my sister also naps in the day, post night shifts, and I don't, I just go to bed a bit earlier. They find if they nap in the day, just a couple of hours, they can still go to bed easily at night, and that helps them to have a better day. But it's a case of just trying out different things and working out what works best for you. After a decade, I know what works best for me, but it's very different to what I used to do when I first started doing night shifts 10 years ago. How to work night shifts and stay healthy. Well, I think first thing to say is how many night shifts are you doing? When I'm in the hospital, often I used to do 7 or 4 and then 3 a week later. So it depends on how many nights. There's some people who work night shifts for months and months and months, and their tips might be different or their routines might be a little bit different. It's important to think about how you're going to eat, how much caffeine you need, what sports you're going to do, what your sleeping pattern is going to be, and how much time you're going to have for friends and family. So I think these are important things and fundamentals of health, basically. There's been quite a lot of research on night shift workers finding that there can be an increased risk of heart problems, metabolic problems, like diabetes or obesity, disruption in your normal sleeping patterns, digestive issues like indigestion. And I think that something I'm really conscious of is eating habits and hydration levels when I'm doing a lot of nights. I always try to make sure I drink enough, and with eating I prefer to have a heavy meal before I go on my night shift around 7, and then I go to my night shift around 3 or 4. I will have another snack, and then I will do my night shift and have some food when I get home, and I rest. I think it's important to make sure that you're packing healthy snacks with you, because I think it's really easy to snack a lot when you're doing a lot of night shifts, especially because you're tired, and I feel like you crave a lot of sugar when you're really tired.
Evidence that is currently available suggests avoid eating between midnight and 6 a.m, so you carry on with your normal eating patterns even when you're on night shifts. Perhaps eating more frequently if you need to boost your energy levels, and making sure you get enough high-quality food groups in, like vegetables, salads, healthy proteins and fats.
I also find that I will have a coffee before I go on my night shift to give me a boost of energy, and that will take me through often till the early hours of the morning. and then I might have another coffee. But it's important to think about caffeine habits when you're doing a lot of night shifts. And I won't have a coffee when I'm on my way home. If you're someone who's used to having a lot of coffee in your routine, you might prefer to have decaf. So you still get the taste of coffee and your body's still in that rhythm, but you're not having all the spikes of caffeine. If you can work out what you're going to do for each of those areas, then I think it's really good to prepare and recover from night shifts.